Assalamualaikum and very good morning and welcome to our presentation. Our topic is about embryonic stem cells, ethic and issue. So let me explain about what is ES cell or embryonic stem cells. So this ES cell is derived from embryo which is at the development stage, and before that implantation would normally occur in uterus, which is it actually located in women oviduct. So a series of cleavage division occur at the embryo, which we call it blastomeres. So these blastomeres can be used to implant in our body to replace our missing cells and becoming a medication things. So in embryo, we just take the inner side of the embryo because the outside part of the cell will become the placenta, so we can't use the cell. So we just use the inner side, which is we call inner mast cells. Okay, and this ES cell can treat many chronic diseases such as multiple site cancer, myocardial infarction, spinal cord injury, and other chronic disease. Then let's proceed to our focus today, which is embryonic stem cells, ethics and society issues. So the first one about the embryo moral status. Have you ever wondered, do embryo has a moral status? Okay, I got 3 statements, which is agree, against and neutral, that I achieved from international university. So this statement was made from debates that occur in that university. So the first one is the embryo moral status increase as it becomes more human-like. It should be given respect and dignity. I agree with that statement because the fertilization process is what we call a human growth process. Human becoming a human process. So even it's a cell, it's becoming human. It's a growth process. So we can call it is a person to begin with, right? So the second statement is against that statement. So it sounds like this: an early embryo that has not yet been implanted into the uterus does not have the psychological, emotional or physical properties that we associate with being a person. Yes, I agree with that too, because in a single cell blastomere, it does not have a spinal cord and eyes or organ or system or mechanism that looks like person. So we can tell it is a person. It does not have a feeling, or I think their heart, or they can't think anything because it's just a bunch of cells. So actually it can be treated as a medication for people if it is a case of emergency. I think so for that. And the third one is a neutral statement, which is either the embryo is viewed as a person while it is still embryo, or it is seen as a potential person. So actually the third statement is neutral. It is a message. You want to send a message that the embryo actually having a moral status or not is depending on the person, how a person look that's embryo. Is it actually, if some person sees the embryo, it depends on him lah. Like embryo can be a person or just a single cell that just living like that. It's depending on the person actually. So let's proceed to our next point, which is second and third point. So let's proceed to SYAHMI.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning everyone. My name is Muhammad SYAHMI bin RAHMAN and my matric number is 203217. Thank you, Adham. Like Adham mentioned earlier, embryonic stem cell is derived from embryo at the developmental stage before the time of implantation that would occur normally in the human uterus. And this is the key for scientists to discover new treatments that could possibly cure various diseases. Embryonic stem cell research, or in short ESCR, is a new frontier of medical breakthrough which possesses an important ethical dilemma of humanity, which gives rise to a question of the rationality behind it. Do we support the destruction of embryo to further science, or do we support the protection of embryo? We face critical decision to protect embryos from being a part of a science experiment, or think it is ethical to kill a few embryos. Those who agree strongly stands up to embryonic stem cell research, as it holds great promise for a better understanding and curing chronic diseases such as diabetes, Parkinson's diseases, and spinal cord injury, which in the future could possibly save more lives. Those who oppose believe that this research is unethical because destroying the blastula in order to obtain the embryonic stem cell as if destroying an unborn child. The fact that embryos are used in these procedures has made such political and moral controversy a hot topic. Some may believe that the embryonic stem cell is not developed into a child just yet. Unless it is embedded to the uterus wall, it will never have the chance to develop into a baby. Some may believe that a human embryo is a human being and deserves respect, just like our law gave to all of us. Some may believe to an extent where embryo is a human being and this research is immoral because the amount to killing person in order to treat other people disease. Embryonic stem cell research also possesses an moral dilemma which forces to choose between two moral principles. First is the duty to prevent or alleviate suffering. Second is the duty to respect the value of human life, which in this case, it is impossible to respect both principles. As for this research, we need to obtain embryos for discoveries of new treatments, which helps to alleviate suffering people. As well as early embryo has to be destroyed, which could potentially destroy a human life. However, there are few potential solutions that could help in reducing the ethical issues in embryonic stem cell research. Firstly is the induced pluripotent stem cells, known as IPS. Pluripotent stem cells are cells that can be generated from adult somatic cells through genetic programming. It was first discovered by Japanese stem cell researcher Shinya Yamanaka, who was awarded with Nobel Prize in 2012 through the discovery of mutual cells that can be programmed to become pluripotent, which is a major factor just like embryonic stem cells. IPS cells are similar to embryonic stem cells, where both comprise specialized epigenetic landscapes which are important for pluripotency maintenance, as well as their morphology. For example, teratoma formation, generation of embryoid bodies and viable chimeras, as well as their ability to differentiate along a given lineage. Advantages and disadvantages of induced pluripotent cells. The advantages are these cells are not derived from human embryos, which cause less ethical issues, as well as they able to accelerate tissue reconstruction to cell differentiation. The disadvantage of this procedure is may associated with cancer as well as low reprogramming rate. For example, the use of IPS cells in bone tissue engineering is promoted by next generation of scaffolds which guide bone tissue repair and provide molecular recognition to enhance differentiation. However, this bone tissue repair faces additional challenges such as requirement for a consequent bone vasculature and exhaustion of stem cells in the aging adults. In certain procedures, it also may cause cancer, as when exogenous DNA are inserted into an organism genome, it will cause or trigger cancer-causing genes in their cells. Another way to substitute embryonic stem cell research is adult stem cell research. It is mainly known as somatic cells, which are cells that are undifferentiated and found throughout the body after development. They multiply through cell division known as mitosis to replenish dying cells and regenerate damaged tissues. Like induced pluripotent cells, adult stem cells also have clinical significance as well as its downside. The clinical significance is these cells helps in treatment for leukemia and related bone or blood cancers utilizing bone marrow transplants, as well as it is used to test patient-specific responses to drug, which helps further in the medical field in our world today. The downside is they may have limited potency or very rare and difficult to obtain. The next point, which is the embryonic stem cell research and religious view, will be presented by Adham Shafi.
Okay. My name is NORAZAM Shafiq bin SHARI with metric number of 203682. So I will be talking about embryonic stem cell research and religion because it has given people the ethical dilemmas whether it's okay or not to be conducting this research. So in some cases, they will follow their belief, religions such as Islam and Christians. As we all know, every religion has their own belief, right? Yeah, so it's the same with how we can conduct this research because different religions view different status of early human embryo in different ways. In Malaysia, we have 4 major religions, which is Islam, Christian, Buddhism and Hinduism. We will be review on these major religion views. First, in Islam, based on Muzakarah Fiqh and International Fiqh Conference in 11 March 2002, they decided that human cloning is haram or forbidden. They also said that the usage of stem cell is allowed in medical research as long as it is not from cloning and followed the Sharia law. Then it was updated that 22 February 2005, it is allowed to use the stem cells to create new cells for medical purpose only. Where in general, Islam is allowed the stem cells research as long as it follow the Sharia law. For Buddhism, based on Asian Biomedicine Volume 8, Number 1 by Mathanam Emrys Fiona Sivaraman and Siti Noraini Muhammad Noor research, that almost all Buddhist scholars in Malaysia approve fully of embryonic stem cell research and do not see any moral ethical differences between the use of surplus or research embryo. But one Buddhist leader did not agree with the research embryo. They do allow the stem cell research if the stem cell is obtained in the time of 4 to 5 days post-fertilization. This is because they believe that at that time the embryo is still not considered as or categorized as living things, so it won't fall as murder and is allowed. Next is Christians. In this case, Catholic Christians, all Catholic representative, totally disapprove of embryonic stem cell research, where they don't allow the research on stem cells. This is because they believe that creating new organ from stem cells or human cloning is not an act of human being. It is an act of God. Thus, it is forbidden for them. Lastly, Hinduism. All Hindu representative approve of embryonic stem cell research, but limited it to using only the surplus embryos and agreed that the use of research embryos should be prohibited. Thus, this is, in other hand, also leave a problem which different religion is complicating the research regulation in Malaysia. It is because the feedback given by the representative of each religion not so positive overall. Without a legal framework, stem cell technology in Malaysia remains generally unregulated, and the unclear regulation has to some extent hindered Malaysian stem cell scientists from undertaking research and development in the field, especially investigative work involving human embryos. To conclude our presentation, the ethical debate of stem cell research is undeniably deep and involved. Topics range from whether or not stem cell is considered human to how effective the research will be. Our group consensus is that stem cell research should be pursued. If successful, the benefit will be astounding, since our legal system has already decided that cluster of cells used to create a germline is not a human. They have already weighed all the surrounding ethical principles. We agree with this, and that researching stem cells should not be considered tampering with human life. Stem cell research has the ability to provide treatment for any of today's incurable disease and disorder. To not pursue will be not an injustice. That's all from us. Thank you.